Good evening. Good evening. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Birthing the Untethered Heart podcast. This is season 2, episode 5. And I have my co host back with me. We are going to jump right on in. But before I do, just in case you are watching and you do not know, this podcast is about untethering from the things that we have fought in our past, the things that we have struggled with, the things that have traumatized us, um, just learning to let go of the things that are holding us and hindering us from moving forward. So I am Angela Nicole. I am a psalmist. I'm a playwright. I am a director, I'm a photographer, I'm a fine artist, all of these gifts that Abba has given me. And so I have learned, what in the world? I have learned, sorry, the screen did something weird. I have learned in my lifetime too that there are things that have literally crippled me from moving forward. So um, Abba has blessed me to be able to help others. And so we started this podcast to be a gift to the kingdom, to be a gift to people, to help encourage people to heal thyself. So I'm going to take a moment to get this out on Facebook. And while I do that, I'm going to bring in our wonderful co-host, Shara Akporji. Hey, girl. Hey. I can't hear you. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. They must have done something different because it looked real different. Don't it look different? Or am I tripping? I can't hear nothing you saying. Is it try to unmute and then mute back? I mean, try to mute and then unmute. Hold on, I'm about to see if it's me. Ooh, so I had trouble with my microphone. You can hear me though, right? Okay, so it's yours. You want to jump off and jump back on? Huh? Okay. Sorry for the technical difficulties, y'all. Trying to figure out why everything looks so different, and also make sure that the family on Facebook has access and are able to join us because usually we're live on Facebook. This week we are live on YouTube and YouTube alone. Shara is back, so let's try to get her in here.
Let's see.
There
Can you
you
hear me?
are. Hey girl, hey.
Hey, how are you? What
I'm
is that
pretty
now?
good. I can't complain. How are you?
I am. It's a Monday. No, it's a Tuesday. Wow, I have no
It's
concept
Tuesday.
of time. Thank God, it's
Yep.
Tuesday.
It is
hmm
absolutely Tuesday.
But I'm good. I don't have complaints. He's good. So I'm good.
Listen, there's no use to complain.
You're right.
There
Very
is
true.
no use. So, can you introduce yourself to the people?
Sure. I am Shar Akporji, as she loves to say all the time. Uh, I am, let's see what I do. I do sales, I do decor, I do ministry, I do administration, I do a lot. Um, I do vacations too. I'm about to start that. That's gonna be the next stream of income. Bless God.
Okay,
Um,
vacations.
look, and we gonna make this work while we still here in this raggedy place over
That
here.
part,
Yeah.
real raggedy,
hmm
raggedy, raggedy.
So quite, quite. I'm not gonna say the other word. I'm trying to get away from the G word. It's okay. So I have been doing ministry like forever, and I've had the chance to sing behind this wonderful lady several times, and still in the same place, just in the middle of a journey, a season that's unfamiliar, being stretched, being exposed, been it's a lot. It's just
Mhm.
it's been that kind of season, and just learning to not just live unapologetically, but to live in the truth of who he has called me to be. Because we
Mhm.
have our own truths, and it being the truth is something totally different. And because he is the truth, he's the measuring stick. So, also, I am working on the teaching side more so in ministry because I run away from it a lot. If my father
Yes. Don't
watched
we all?
you guys, um,
Don't
you know,
we all?
nobody wants to always preach, and at least not to these saints.
Right. Why
Give
would
me the
we?
four walls outside of your church doors. Give me
Listen.
that. Because I talk to anybody, and I'll make a conversation with just anybody. So I definitely
There
there you
we
go.
go.
Thank God.
I was like,
It was
what
felt
in
like I
the
could see
world is
all of
happening?
my forehead. Oh,
That was way too close.
it was. But but overall, I am really just taking it one step at a time. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's me in a nutshell.
Yes.
Follow me. I'm trying to do better at posting. I don't still don't think I post. I now let me tell you this. I take pictures all day. I go everywhere. When I'm everywhere, I take a picture. I don't post pictures. That's my issue. I have
Yes.
content for days, guys. Because another thing I do is food.
She does.
I will tell
Mhm.
you real quick where you can eat, what's the bomb, what's can go, and what you may overcharge for.
Uh-huh.
But other than that, that's me. That's why is she's on the go.
Yes.
The city. I'm in
Yeah.
somebody's city. Whether it's my city,
Yeah.
your city,
I
all city,
see.
two city. There you
Sioux City. Ain't that the song?
go. Really, it is. But no, it's just fun being on this platform with you. It is.
Oh, thank you.
You're
I'm so
welcome.
glad you joined us. I did season one. She was a guest on season one, but at the end of season one, I was praying throughout the whole season, and a guy is supposed to join us. I don't know who the guy is going to be. We thought it was going to be Brian for a minute because he had joined us so many times, but we'll see what the Lord does. But I was so happy that she chose to join in at the end of the season. Actually, it really wasn't either one of our choice. Abba said, and we obeyed. So I'm just really grateful to have her. She's one of my closest friends, and Abba just uses her so mightily in so many areas, and especially in my life. So I'm really grateful to have her here. Like I said, we're usually live on Facebook, so I just wanted to make sure we introduced ourselves and introduce what the podcast is for, so that you guys can know and follow and subscribe and support us. This is really important. Service, a really important service to our community, and we're going to be going live from YouTube from here on out so that people can have access to us that may not know us. So if you know us, thank you for joining. If you don't, we are excited to have you, and we hope that you come back next time. So we are going to jump in to the topic for today. We are on part 3 of Trauma Stinks, and the last two episodes we talked about hidden traumas that affect us that we don't really understand and we don't see. And the first one we talked about literal body odor, people who have traumatic experiences that cause body odor and how to handle those. And then we jumped into people with disabilities and people who, excuse me, who have all kinds of disorders and dysfunctions that have caused them to have a traumatic response to certain things. And so last week we got into talking about caregivers and how they have traumatic experiences, especially once the person has passed. I told my story about how I drove past a um, nursing home where my loved one was being cared for after he passed away, and it triggered me so bad it took me a long time to get myself together. So these are the types of things that we are tethered to that we may not even know about, that we may not understand, but there is healing for your soul. There's healing to combat those thoughts. There's healing to combat those experiences. Hey, Kiki. Kiki is on supporting us today. Hey, Kiki girl, we're so grateful to have you with us. Um, So yeah, we're just learning and growing and coming together to help each other heal. So I'm going to turn it over to Shar because she's going to share some of her experiences with us, and then we're going to just flow in the conversation like we normally do.
That part.
Oh no.
So, um, it was something I was honestly reminded of while having a conversation with one of my sisters, actually, a sister. And it was a reason why I had at one point in time for my high school friends, they would probably remember this.
Hold on, I'll be
And
right back.
okay. And for my friends who were with me like the beginning of my like 20s and stuff like that. So I got into this season in this place to where I was no longer celebrating my birthday because I kept having travesty after travesty. Like one of my friends was assaulted and she it was near my birthday, and so I didn't want to celebrate. And then another year I lost a relative and he was gunned down, and so I didn't want to celebrate. And then it became this natural fear of my birthday every year on the calendar. So it'll be like, okay, what's going to happen this year? So I was like, well, if I'm not celebrating, I'll be okay. Nothing's going to happen. And I really had to be delivered from, just walking in fear that time of year every year. For probably about 5 or so years, I had a trauma after trauma after trauma during that time. And so I like literally God had to speak to me in another season and be like, it's not your birthday. And you have to really understand it's nothing that you're doing, it's not even the environment you're in. It just happened to fall that way. And I had to find a way to rekindle the zeal of wanting to celebrate. So if anybody knows me now, they know that when I go for my birthday, I'm not even here celebrating with people anymore. I don't even celebrate with like a lot of people anymore. I just do like this really, really small group because of the fact of what I experienced in the past and not wanting to like having people who were super close to me have anything happen to them or anything like that. But it was something that happened back then that affects how I move now for different times of the year, especially during my birthday. So but I'm back to celebrating. Actually this year I actually celebrated a milestone and I did it in a very big way. I'm grateful to my husband, grateful to my friend, my sister. It was definitely something that they were able to bring together like a lot of loved ones, and it was who was supposed to be there was there. And it just made me super appreciative because tomorrow's not promised. And even not even knowing that while I was celebrating, I had pneumonia, I had walking pneumonia. And so it was another thing of, oh, I went back to that mindset of, oh my god, something was going to happen again. And I had to like really cast down those thoughts of being like, okay, you're okay, everything's okay, and it's going to be okay. And so it was really just being grateful to being able to celebrate again, because 40 was big for me. So
Yes,
we're grateful.
absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know if you heard any of the story, Angie, but
I
yeah,
did. I was just trying to. My computer told me it was about to die, so I was trying to figure out what was going on
got you.
when it wasn't dying at all. So yeah.
That's fine.
I hope I
Well,
didn't ruin
technology.
y'all. Please forgive the camera malfunction. But yes, yes. That I was grateful when you brought that up for us to discuss because um that was a thing for me. Like you already know, I didn't celebrate my birthday for a long time, and I still don't know why. To be honest, I just think that it may be from just not having money growing up. We didn't have a lot, so I was not in a situation where we had parties, we didn't have gifts. My mother did what she could. She would bake us cakes every year for our birthday and sing happy birthday, but we weren't like most kids who went out and had parties and celebrated their birthday. It was just the three of us. So, um, and
And
mind
see,
you, I
I was
have other
opposite.
siblings. Yeah, mind you, I have other siblings. And so it was just me, my mom, and my sister. And I think that yes, let's celebrate. Kiki, let's say yes, celebrate. So I think that there was some subconscious, because that's what we are talking about. We're talking about the trauma that can be subconsciously,
Mhm.
that can subconsciously affect other areas of your life. And so um was a subconscious detachment from birthday celebrating. And so I had no desire whatsoever to be disappointed. In my head, it was no desire to celebrate, because I'm like, it's just another day that God has given me. I don't have to celebrate it. But I learned that it was a subconscious desire to not be disappointed, to not be disappointed in people showing up, to not be disappointed in not getting what I want, to not be disappointed in allowing myself to have these expectations that may not be met. So I'm grateful for friends like you. And Brian Ruffin was another one, the guy that was with us last week. He very much was on me for years, like, you got to do something, to celebrate yourself. If it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have had a 30th birthday celebration, because I just wasn't feeling it. And so it was something that I had to break out of,
Mhm.
because it was a real sincere issue. And so that's what we want to talk about today. We want to talk about those subconscious things that we kind of dig inside of us. And it causes us trauma. It causes us, sometimes even addiction. Um,
Well, I might have became addicted to celebrating in the end.
Expound on that.
Because, well, I wanted to point out for you first, because I think this is hilarious, you guys. You got to know, okay, so you're listening to her story, her talking about how she did not like to celebrate and how she didn't celebrate growing up. And now, knowing her over these almost to a decade, close to it,
Hmm.
I've watched her celebrate others and throw others parties and support others. And so in my head, I'm like, but you don't do it for yourself. And a
Hmm.
lot of times when you have that giving mantle, and I'll call it a mantle because you're naturally a giver, and it like it'll blow your mind away of how you'll put other people before yourself. Like
Hmm.
what you do for others, you may not do for yourself. And I think that it came natural, and like she was talking about how it became a thing of you weren't going to be disappointed. Well, when you're planning somebody else's party, it's real easy because you're like, who you want there? Okay, they didn't come, whatever, that's on you. But when you're the one and you don't see the people that you expect in the room, that's a whole nother level of disappointment. And not
Hmm.
only does it come with another level of disappointment, it also comes with another level of expectation. A lot of times we want us from others, and others aren't prepared to give that back to us. And so then it makes you reevaluate your circle, and it makes you reevaluate your friendships, and it makes you reevaluate your relationships. Then sometimes you see it's a seesaw and it's up and down, and then sometimes you'll see it be off balance, and then sometimes you'll see it's a level playing field. And I
Hmm.
really feel like it over the years, I got a chance to learn where those people went in certain categories. I didn't have to cut them off, they naturally fell off. um and like both of us, we know a lot of people. Oh,
Hmm.
I feel like together we know all of the DMV.
We do together for sure.
100%. And with that, it comes so much. And just not wanting to celebrate, it was even hard for me because like my mom and my friends at the time, they were just like, come on, this is what you do. We celebrate. And it was like, no, I'm good. Nah,
Hmm.
I'll just do dinner and we're good.
Hmm.
And now I'm like, God, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Because and I think it became with me losing people along the way because I would see them in one age and then the next age they weren't there. And it
Yeah.
became a thing of being grateful and having a spirit of gratitude. And then also at the same time having humility because guess what? It could have been me. I,
Yes. That part.
I'm not promised tomorrow.
That
And it's like life is but a vapor. And that is so real, especially in these days. Like the time is getting shorter. Can you
part.
believe we already over halfway through the year?
Yep.
Like it will be December before you know it. We'll be getting ready to say 2026. Who knows what that's going to bring? Um,
Hmm.
we're not even going to talk about politics on this platform
Okay.
today.
No.
Okay, that's a whole nother separate one.
Listen, we don't want to hear what I have to say.
No. So therefore, celebrating milestones, because it doesn't always have to be a birthday. You'll be
Hmm.
surprised when people don't celebrate milestones. And then guess what? If nobody is celebrating your milestone, you celebrate you.
Yeah.
And that's where I think a lot of times we just feel like it's an expectation. Somebody else has to celebrate. We can celebrate ourselves. Let me tell you, I would take myself out in a heartbeat, baby.
Hmm.
Like we've
Just
gotten so
I
much
will.
of that as the older we got. Like you got to mature to that state. You don't always need people around because guess what? You have the one with you. He's better. He's the best company ever.
That part.
And you will be surprised, like when you give him leeway, how he can blow your mind in a situation. Like why y'all
Hmm.
1-on-1, because
Hmm.
you've given him that space to date you, to be with you, to have communication, and you get a chance to see him in a totally different light. And it's so amazing to be able to celebrate. Hey, guess what? I did 15 interviews this week. That's something to celebrate. Guess what? Because it's a hiring issue now. People, the job market is some trash. So, it's like, okay, so guess what? We're gonna celebrate. I got through 15 interviews. We're gonna celebrate. I lost 2 pounds. I don't care. It's not 20, but it's 2. I'll take it. Whatever your milestone is, making sure you're celebrating it, but also give him space. And then what I forgot, you asked me a question about something. I'm sorry, bro. What'd you ask?
Uh, Lord, I said.
I'm sorry. I went on another tangent because of you and celebrations and lack thereof.
I think I said. I did not write it down because I was trying to figure out this fun, crazy thing.
It's okay.
Um, I think I said something about the subconscious. Like
Oh, the
what?
subconscious.
Yeah.
So subconsciously, I feel like um it made me that one those multiple traumas over those 5 years, it made me subconsciously shrink back. I
Hmm.
mean, because naturally I'm like very loud. Like I'm in the room.
Hmm.
And so for me to shrink back, and then it also made me uh a lot more I won't say critical, but more mindful off of what I did and how I moved and how I navigated through life. Like I wouldn't do anything that was there anymore. Like I wasn't trying to get on a plane no more. Cause I'm like,
Right.
oh God, it can go down at any point in time. I don't want that to be I don't want this to be the legacy for this year, this milestone,
Right.
or I would like, okay, no bar hopping this year. Whatever it was, I was just like,
Hmm.
okay, I'm gonna put myself in a box, in a bubble. I can create my safe space. And it literally made me trust him less because I was operating
Mm,
more so in fear than in
that's
trust.
good.
And it gave me an opportunity to see, well, who do you trust? Like it's even on your money, and God do we trust. But
That
that's
part.
a whole subject.
That's
But
good.
but it really made me really develop a better relationship with him post the trauma, because trauma doesn't always have to be something detrimental. It could be small, and it could start off very small, and it can grow over years, or it can get a band-aid, or sometimes it can heal. And
That's
I
good.
like to believe I'm in a place to where that trauma has been healed, because now I'm back to celebrating. um, Now,
Hmm.
when I ended up with pneumonia, that put me back in the mindset of, oh, wait a second, God, we back to this. We haven't dealt with this in about 15 years. What's going on? Like, how we get
Hmm.
back here? Like, this is
Right.
not going to be the new story. Like, we're not writing this kind of story. Like, it's no longer external incidents. Now it's internal. So,
Hmm.
and it made me look at him like, wait, am I about to be Job? Are we about to have a Job experience? Like, what you about to say? Like, it really made me go to him differently. But in the end, I was very grateful. And
Right.
subconsciously, hey, there's therapy.
That part.
That part
That
there.
part. Yeah. Brian says for sure I had to learn to celebrate myself, and now I'm always stuck celebrating myself.
Way to go, baby.
I can't. Yes, I was. This is the Brian that I was talking about earlier when I said that. He kind of pushed me. Shar definitely pushes me. She has to push me every year because as much as she is excited, I am not.
That part.
Now I have shifted my mindset in the space of being grateful for a new year life, like making sure I'm grateful, like
Okay.
happy and thankful, because I have a lot of friends that have not seen my age.
Oh.
People are dying every day that might not make it to see past the next 2 years of my life. So before, when we were younger, we were looking forward to growing older. But
Mm-hmm.
now it's like, growing older, you don't really know how much more time you have. At the end of the day, none of us know the day or hour that we will leave here. So we have to live each day with gratitude. And so I still don't have it. And so when I was around 30, I think I was turning 30. It was my 30th birthday, and Brian can help me. It was either 30 or the 31st, and I wasn't doing nothing. I had no plans whatsoever. And he was like, "Nah, you gotta plan your 30th birthday." And so we had a dinner at our favorite karaoke spot. We went to Six Flags the next day, and then he and I went to a park just to chill and talk on the third day of the weekend. And so he made it special that whole weekend. And so between Brian and Shar, I would say I have become more, and others, there are other people in my life that have forced me to celebrate my birthday. My best friend, he would surprise me with certain things throughout the years, but I have never really felt that push, to like, let's go, let's do something. And so when I turned 40, the Lord was like, listen, you got to have two parties. And I was like, what? Two parties? And so the second one technically was more like a giving space, so that was easier. But
No.
that first one, y'all could have had that one.
It
Y'all could have had that one for
was
sure.
fun. Don't do that. Don't do it. Don't
But
do the stuff like that.
but it was great. I had a good time. My best friend sang to me, and it was a good day. My therapist and good friend, prayed over me and spoke into my life, and so I was really grateful that the Lord and Shar pushed me to do it, because I almost was disobedient quite a few
You
times.
say you.
And
Yes, you
she
was.
she made sure I did it. And so I feel like that is the untethering, having support systems to push you past those subconscious places. And so Abba was making me aware, even just this weekend, of how I have secluded myself so much that I will tap out of a space. And I was talking to Brian and Shar about this. I will tap out, like literally tap out of a space, so that I won't um so that I won't have to deal with people, or I won't have to be present in a room and be rejected. And so the Lord was dealing with me about that. Brian said, I celebrate the living, not the dead.
Mhm.
You better listen. That's what the Father said in the word. He said, why are you looking for the living among the dead? That's what he said. So I I have to be very, very conscious now to stay awake, stay alert, stay thoughtful, not give into mindlessness just because I want to retreat into this bubble where I feel safe, And a lot of times that has to do with the things that we have suppressed, the things that we have rejected within we have dealt with in regard to rejection within ourselves, and, the way we deal with others. Like, I think that that's a good thing to discuss, like, what parts of you are so traumatized that it affects how you treat other people.
That's good.
Because it's real. Like, I really had to ask myself that this weekend, because normally I would walk in the room and I would speak to people. I would speak to everybody in there, ask people what their names are, introduce myself. I ain't do none of that. And I have not done any of that for a very long time, because I'm like, people be peopling. And if I don't have to know you or give you the gospel, but how do I know these people don't need the gospel? How do I know these people don't need the gift of untethering? Or how do I know these people don't need a photographer or a teacher or a leader, or all of these things that Abba has gifted me to do? How do I know that these people don't need one of those gifts? But I will never know if I just continue to just act like people don't exist.
Mm,
You are stumped on this.
yeah. Hey, repeat the question again, because I don't know. For some reason, it like I started and then I went. My mind went totally
I
left
I
because they
think
keep
I
calling me for
said.
work. I don't know why they calling me for work. I'm off,
I'm
but
sorry.
nevertheless.
I think I said. How does your subconscious issues, like the things you struggle with, or subconscious, in what ways do your subconscious mind, heart, and this just is a general question, it's not just for you, it's absolutely for you, but how have you seen subconscious traumas or subconscious thoughts, like when people isolate themselves, how have has that shown up in how we treat other people?
Mm, sometimes for me, it'll cause me not to speak, like
Hmm.
you said. It'll cause me not to show up altogether because I'll think, okay, this person's here. Don't want to deal with that. Don't want to have to say anything to this person. I'll go ahead and manage the thought in my head. And I've already come up with my own conclusion, not knowing whether or not, he could have had a totally different outcome for me being there. Um, but trauma, as far as my reaction to others, it's real. It can be real because I would just straight up, what do they call it, swerve?
Hmm.
I would swerve in a heartbeat. Yeah, that's me.
So how have you seen it show up in others, or like what have you seen
Mm.
outside of yourself?
Outside of myself, I've seen I've seen people completely disappear. I've seen people literally like not well, they do shrink back, but they do it in a manner that is almost like they go under the radar, like they do just enough. And what that looks like is you walk in a room and smile, wave, and then go sit down. Or they walk in a room, like you said, you go past people, or they just decide not to be in the room altogether, but be present.
Hmm.
Um, and they can go in a totally different room, not say anything to anybody. And
Hmm.
sometimes I always have to be like, well, is it a motive for that? Like, is it attention seeking? Or is it depression? Or is it anxiety? And I'm like, okay, it could be all of those things.
Hmm.
Like we talked about how hidden traumas, like people hidden disabilities, like every disability does not have to be apparent to everyone. And every disability affects others differently. Like we could both have ADHD
Hmm.
and it look different in you than it will in me.
Right.
Like there's a spectrum for everything. So just like I feel like it's a spectrum for your trauma and how it affects others,
Hmm.
because your trauma, my trauma could affect you
Right.
depending on what it is or how I show up with it.
Hmm.
Just like baggage in a relationship, it could be trauma, could be baggage. Like how often do people go on dates be like, hey, you got to deal with this, 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 this. I actually know somebody who's literally getting a divorce because somebody couldn't mitigate their trauma.
Mm.
They Therapy wasn't enough.
Wow.
So they
It's very
decided to
sad.
separate. So, everything. It just depends on the trauma.
Yeah, I think that you brought up a very good point, um, about, especially when it comes to marriage. If if one has not really fully healed or dealt with their stuff, that anything and everything can affect your spouse. Um, it
That's
could
real.
cause you to be damaging to the other person. I've seen people be traumatized and literally reject people just so that they can push them away. And I've done some similar things myself. And so I think that it's very important to not just go to therapy or deal with the trauma that is on the surface, but you have to uproot those things, because the uprooting needs to be uh, uh, something that is torn out, because it will still grow fruit. Just because you don't know those roots are there
Mhm.
does not mean that that fruit will show in other areas. And so that's what I had to learn about myself. And that's where the untethering had come from, because I mean, had to take place, because I realized that if somebody talked to me a very particular way, them
Mhm.
roots started budding fruit, baby. That was the conditioning of that plant. Like, you know how they say a little sun, a little water, and it'll grow. Well, a little tone and a little frustration and your body language, you got me to grow real quick. And so I had to learn it. Just because somebody else's behavior affects me a certain way doesn't mean that you can't have boundaries and be like, hey, you can't talk to me like that.
That's
But
right.
that's the fruit. The healthy fruit is, I'm going to address the situation. The healthy fruit is, I'm going to talk about this. The bad fruit, or the traumatized fruit, or the subconscious fruit is, I'm not even going to know how I'm handling you right now. I'm not even going to handle you in a normal or healthy way. I'm going to kirk out, or I'm going to, kirk out means go off, just in case you're not from the DMV. But I'm either going to kirk out, I'm going to get angry, I'm going to, like, some one of those negative emotions are going to pop up, and they are going to show themselves, and they are going to show themselves very strongly. And at the end of the day, if I am not aware of my body, if I'm not aware of my emotions, if I'm not aware of my spirit
Mm.
behind the spirit behind my movement,
Come on.
absolutely anything can happen. And
That's
that is when I realized I needed help. That is when I realized I needed to get myself together. Fortunate for me, that happened when I was 16 years old. I wanted to kill somebody, literally. And I was like, if I will do this for somebody I love, if I will respond this way to somebody I love, then I need to figure this out, because I don't want to end up in jail. And and
they
so
free.
yeah, and so I learned that about anger, but now as an adult, I'm learning it about rejection and about abandonment. Like, those things will make you ask a whole bunch of questions that don't need to be asked. Those things will make you retreat when nobody means you any harm. Those things will make you, rejection and abandonment will make you question the most beautiful of people because of their slight movement. It will also make you, cause you to make excuses for the people who have been there for you the most, but are not necessarily the best for you.
Come on.
And so it everything needs to be uprooted. Everything needs to be addressed. And if you aren't, bold enough to really, really dig deep and figure out who you are, whose you are, and what's happening on the inside of you, then that fruit will produce, and you won't even know what type of fruit you're producing.
Strange fruit.
Girl, don't talk about strange fruit, because that's the message for for the fourth Sunday. I pull away because Brian says, I pull away because I struggle with trusting people with me, because I'm a genuine person, but people will abuse that. That is absolute
Fact.
facts.
Super facts, but
Absolute facts. Super glue facts. Okay.
it's
You
real.
can't that. That is absolutely true. And unfortunately, it is a truth for those who are genuine and those who are authentic in their love. People will abuse it. And what I've learned from my experience is people will abuse it without even knowing.
That part.
Like, some will abuse it intentionally, be like, "Oh, she too nice. I'm gonna just use her to my capacity." But excuse me, others, they will abuse it without even knowing, because of their subconscious traumas. I'm gonna cling to what I know is good, even though I may not be able to do nothing for them. I'm gonna cling on to something good until, and drain it as much as I can. I'm gonna get all the use out of it as I can. That's what the subconscious thing says, you know, and it's really real.
It was bringing me full circle to Leviathan. I'm sorry.
No, you ain't gotta apologize. Go ahead, speak, girl.
Yeah. Because you'll get those people, going back to the genuineness that Brian's talking about, you'll get those people who will put themselves around you to glean until you're like literally suffocating and then leave you. And like one of those things, one of the characteristics of Leviathan is the ability to be able to camouflage and blend in and to like kind of go not incognito, but to go stealth mode to where it's almost chameleon like, to where it'll be what you need. It'll give you that comfort, it'll give you that support. But if you're not careful, you're not watching how it's coiling around you. You got to be careful with your posture with those. And
Mm-hmm.
if you're not, you will find yourself being choked out, literally taking
Period.
your, and that's one thing that that we've been learning is, just your breath. Your breath is so important
Mm-hmm.
because your breath not only does it give life, it can also speak death.
Yeah.
So depending on depending on your stance with the Leviathan spirit, you can begin to take that on as well. And then where's the genuineness, and where is the light that you were once shining? Now you're beginning to look on the darker side. And that's where a lot of people sometimes get stuck dwelling.
Yeah.
And, we've forsaken the light for the darkness because it's the easier path. It's
Yeah.
very to make excuses. It's very easy to just blend in, to disappear, to separate, to segregate. It's very easy to walk in darkness. And that's why you got to
Mm-hmm.
fight to stay in the light, fight for
Mm-hmm.
your breath. Seriously.
Yeah. And that's where the darkness is, where the addictions begin. And then even what I've learned with me is that you can isolate yourself in a cave, like, because in the shelter of the Most High, one is safe. But you can even isolate yourself in the cave with Abba and stay there too long,
Hmm.
and it become a place of darkness. And that's where the subconscious addictions begin, eating, emotional eating. That's the struggle for me. Someone else, it might be
Your masturbation,
alcohol.
it could be whatever.
It could be whatever. It could even be TV, or like have
So-
to you
Social
having
media.
to have someone to talk to.
Social
That,
media can also be an
you know,
addiction too.
yeah, social media for sure, especially those reels, girl. I
Girl,
had
they
to take a
went
break because them Jones was weighing me out. I was like, I literally, because it is a mechanism of avoidance,
in distraction.
you and distraction. You are, but it's, for most, it's intentional avoidance. You are
Mhm,
using it to avoid a feeling. You are
mhm,
using it to avoid an issue. You are using it to avoid something that you need to deal with. It's a distraction from good stuff. It's a distraction from life, and it's a distraction from the things that you don't really want to deal with sometimes.
yeah.
And the enemy will use it as a distraction, but we also use it as a distraction to stay to break away from the stress, to break away from the drama, to break away from the trauma, the things that we are struggling with inwardly. And we just need to laugh, we just need to cry, we just need to see what's going on in somebody else's life, see how good or bad things are for them, because some people, that's relief too, you
Literally.
know and it's a real thing.
I just saw this guy. There was these men talking, and it was he's married, and he was saying how they communicate, him and his wife communicate differently. Like he wants to talk about things immediately and address them immediately, and she's more of a avoidance, so I can get to it later.
Yeah.
And so they came to a compromise, and like he has to wait a certain amount of time, but while she is like, she can't leave and disappear. She has to stay
Hmm.
in the house, but while she's in the house, she can't be distracted. Like that don't mean you get on social media. That don't mean you talk on the phone to your mom or your girlfriends. That means you take that time to figure out how you want to address the situation. And a lot of times we don't want to deal with us.
Hmm.
That's where a lot of times, that's why it's so easily to get distracted, because it's so much easier to put a band-aid on your wound than for you to address it. Who wants to sit there through the surgery? Nobody.
Nobody.
And then to pull things up from roots, like even in my therapy sessions, like I didn't even know I had trauma that still bothered me from childhood. Like I literally bust into tears in the middle. I was like, you just said one word. And I'm
Hmm.
like, I don't even know where this came from. And I'm
That's
like,
all it
why
takes.
is this still an issue? Like, it's not, I didn't know it was an issue.
Hmm.
And to think that some things have been dormant for so long, and you put
Hmm.
life on top of it, you put friends on top of it, family on top of it, work on top of it, ministry on top of it, it gets buried deeper and deeper and deeper. So guess what? By the time you get to our age and you're trying to pull things up that was while you were in the 90s, and here we are 2020s. Like, that's a
Mhm.
long time to have that still be a issue or a trauma or a trigger or even
Mhm.
just a wound flat out. Um,
Yeah.
and it's amazing how God can like literally use people to help you see what you can't see. And a
Mhm.
lot of times because we've dealt with it for so long, it's normal to us.
Mhm.
And when it becomes normal to you, you don't take a second look at it because it's
Mhm.
normal. It's what
Yeah.
you've all it's how we always how many people say it's what I've always done. It's how I've always been. I'm not changing. No, that's a lie. You can't change.
Yes, you made something that is broken and meant to be dysfunctional, you've made it functional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
to mitigate through dysfunction, yo, that's a whole nother level.
Mhm. But
That's
we do it all the time.
all the time.
We do it all the time. I will never forget, Keith Battle was preaching one time, and he talked about this very thing, and he gave a story about how it was a lamp in his office or something, that him and his wife had, and he figured out how to make the light, like it was a lamp and it was broken, and
Mhm.
he figured out how to make the lamp work. And his wife was just looking at him like he was crazy, like, why don't you just buy another lamp? And it just kept breaking and it just kept breaking and it just kept breaking. And I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember all the details, but instead of just replacing the lamp, he kept trying to fix it when it was broken. And
Right.
so that's what we do. Instead of just trying to deal with the things, we keep finding ways for it to be broken again, or
Mhm.
we try to fix it and be like, oh, that's nothing, I just kirked out for a second, I'll be all right, I'll handle it next time, I'll handle it different next time. No, something is wrong with you if you are processing things that way. If you can't speak when you walk into a room, something is wrong. Like, something is not normal, because that is a polite thing to do. If you can't be polite, if you can't be kind, if that's not who you are, and that is who you should be, if you weren't raised to be an unkind person, that's what I'm saying. Like, if
Mhm.
your character is good, if your character is pure, but your behavior is not kind, your behavior is not pure, then something is absolutely wrong. Something needs to be addressed in your inward man. Something
Mhm.
needs to be untethered from those negative emotions, because that's really what's happening. The negative emotions are puppeting the trauma, or the trauma is puppeting the negative emotions, rather. Oh, I don't, I was left by myself when I was little. So when somebody walks out the room, anger shows up, or frustration shows up, or let me pop up with depression, because that's how I felt when I was little, or that's how this situation makes me feel. And so but we should be renewed. We can be renewed in our minds. We can
Right.
be renewed in our hearts. We can be renewed by breaking those tethers and saying, I'm not going to be attached to this trauma anymore. I won't allow my negative emotions to be puppeted by something that isn't even happening now, because
Right.
all of this is in the past. We have a decision to make. Am I going to keep moving forward with this baggage behind me? Am I going to keep moving forward with this traumatic experience behind me? And it's not that it's going to end at overnight, but for some people it can. If
Right.
you just make up in your mind, I'm going to have a new mind, I'm going to have a new heart, and this is not going to affect me anymore, and you keep speaking that over yourself, and you keep speaking life in the word over yourself, then yes, it's going to happen. It
Right.
can change. Your mindset is what produces behavior, really. And so if you have a behavior that, I've been traumatized and I'm a victim and I'm this and I'm that, then that's what you're going to be. But if you say I am victorious, if you say my mind is going to be renewed, even in the moments where you aren't that good, even in the moments where things don't feel great, your mouth will speak the life that you need to live. One of the greatest quotes I've ever heard by Creflo Dollar, it says, if you change the way you think, you'll change the way you speak, then you'll change the way you live. And it works in that order. Your thoughts control your mouth, and your mouth controls the life and death is in the power of the tongue, and them that speaketh will eat thereof. So whatever you say, you're going to eat the fruit of that.
Right.
Now that does not mean that we're God and we can manifest things that are not as though they were, because that's what that scripture means. You know how I feel about that. But at the end of the day, the word says that life and death. So if you want to live life, of a life full of life and not dead things, then you
Mm,
have to speak life over yourself. Those scriptures that speak life, those words that speak life, that is the production of the fruit that comes out of your life. The fruit that you produce will be life. But if you want to live a life of death, if you want to live a life of evil, then you continue to speak darkness over yourself, and you're going to eat it. You're going to eat that fruit.
yeah. And I love everything you said, because it definitely took me to a place of when I had to literally start declaring things over myself, because I knew what I wanted to happen, like my next steps. And I remember writing scriptures and motivational quotes like on a wall, and
Mm-hmm.
then making sure like, hey, this one's for anger, this one's for anxiety, this one's for peace, this one is for controlling my tongue, this, like, and I had something that I just grab it off my wall. Okay, we're gonna read this, because let me tell you, if I say how I'm feeling right now, it is not going to turn out great.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that emotions can change, I didn't want to do that. So therefore, I definitely had to really stand on the word for a lot of situations. And was it always easy? Absolutely not. Absolutely. Because
Mm-hmm.
let me tell you, this flesh is a contender, baby.
Listen,
This flesh
word says
is a
it does not
contender.
understand and will contend against the things of the spirit.
Literally, your spirit man can sit there and want to do exactly what's right. And your flesh be like, look, it's just so easy. Just go ahead and go to sleep. Just you'll only look at one reel. 30 minutes later, 15 DMs later,
Yes. Hours later,
hours
hours
later, you
later.
like, hey, I was gonna read my word.
Listen,
Oh, okay. I guess I'll try again tomorrow. No,
crazy.
like that's why you got fast. Let me tell you, because fasting
Mhm.
ain't always, it ain't for the weak.
It ain't for the
But
weak,
let me tell you, you need to get used to doing
but it's
it.
for the weak.
It
That's
is.
what they're gonna say. Love, hey girl. That's what she said. It ain't for the weak, but it's for the
It's
weak.
for the weak. It is. But it'll help you build and strengthen the muscles that you need to
Mm-hmm.
use and flex when you need to. And
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I feel like, I mean, knowing majority of the people in the chat, like our tongues, we can definitely, do what we need to do.
Come
Cause
on.
I mean, we got powerhouses, like seriously.
Mm-hmm. And
Like, and
you
if
can
you
do some
don't see it,
damage in a good
right,
or bad way.
either
Listen.
way.
Uh-huh.
Especially the audiences and the environments that you're privy to, or that God has graced you to walk through certain doors. Imagine the damage you can do with your mouth,
That
good or
part.
bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, some of y'all in boardrooms, some of y'all in studios,
Come
some of
on.
y'all are on movie sets, you on red carpets, you in different lighthouses. I mean, you're all over the world. And it's like, come on, what are we doing with it?
Mm-hmm.
Seriously. And also,
Seriously.
I heard something when you were saying about I heard subs. So a lot of times we use our like our traumas will attach it to a version of us.
Oh, girl. That's good.
It becomes a sub. And so then we get so used to it, then you don't know you're dealing with multiple subs. So you might have this version of Shar today, another version of Shar tomorrow. But guess what? We've learned to manage our subs. And that's part of being dysfunctional.
That
So when you find yourself addressing your subs and you already know, like it was on a movie, and it's like you already knew, like you knew you can trade out for this person. Oh, this person handles this better in this situation. Oh, let me use Mortal Kombat. Let me
part.
use Mortal Kombat. So you knew you wanted the guy with the knives. You was about to go against the big giant.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
knew you needed the one that was just really big for like moving muscle. Like, but you knew who to trade in or to tap out with, because if you had put you in that battle, you wouldn't have lasted.
That
So
part.
therefore, a lot of times we will manage our subs to go before us, but that's also
Girl.
double mindedness to it. If you really look at it, that's operating in a double mind.
It's not just operating in double mind, but it's operating in deceit because that's not who you are.
That part as well. So we really gotta be careful about watching our tongue, watching how we move and watching how we manage dysfunction and trauma,
Hmm.
because you don't want to continue to create sub personalities. Not cute. I remember
So
I used to think it was so cute because Beyonce was Sasha Fierce, and then she was regular on this that. Once I was Beyonce, the other one was Sasha Fierce, and then I go back and I listen to it, and I'm like, yo, this was deception,
it's
deception.
it's not just deception, but it's schizophrenia
That too, bipolar. I mean, it's a few of them. It could have
because
been
you got multiple personalities out here,
that part.
and people don't know who you are, and you trying to figure out why this person don't like you today. That's because you're another person today.
Yeah,
Why they don't like you tomorrow? That's because you was another person yesterday.
yeah,
So you the person you were yesterday disrespected them. Come on.
mhm. That
And
part.
now they don't want to talk to you
Mm.
to Sally. Sally's the good person. But Sally Walker
Dang.
is a talker. And she got some stuff, nasty stuff to say out her mouth.
Yeah.
And so now I gotta deal with Sally Walker, but you want to be Sally. No, no, no.
Mm-mm, go back to
No.
Walker.
Come on.
Let me
Oh,
address Walker today.
Walker said some stuff, okay?
Yeah.
That Sally needs to take accountability for. And
Let
that is double mind. It's just like you said, it's double minded. It's those things walk hand in hand. So schizophrenia is a part. Is a product of double mindedness, and you can't get nothing. The word says you can't get nothing from the Father if you are double minded. Nothing. Come on. His
no.
grace is sufficient, yes, but you really can't get nothing from him if you are double minded. And it's not that he won't give it to you, it's that you won't be able to receive it because Sally is the one that's praying, but Sally Walker is like, I don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want those blessings. I don't want that healing. I don't want that deliverance.
Look.
I just want what I want. And right now, that is to be dysfunctional. So your sub is substituting truth
I like that.
for the lie,
Yeah, that's the truth.
or the lie for the truth. It's living a double life.
Yeah.
It's living a double standard. It's
Right.
living a fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it's time for Sally to wake up, she's like, hold on, wait a minute. How did I get here?
Mm-hmm.
How did I get here? How am I this overweight? How am
Look.
I this dysfunctional?
Look.
How am I this angry? How am I this depressed? How is my house not this clean or this dirty? How's my house this dirty? How is my car this broken?
Hmm.
How am I this much in debt? That's because your sub has been substituting a lie for the truth and living a fantasy land,
Yes.
living a fantasy world that you have to come out of and untether from. And so the way that we do that, and one of the things that I try to share every time is that this isn't about being religious, but we are believers. And so the way that we're going to help is going to be the word. And
Right.
the word says that he will keep you in perfect peace if you keep your mind stayed on him.
Yeah.
So that's getting in your word. That's giving time to prayer. That's giving time to hear him. Like, so that means that I'm not just going to say Lord, 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 and don't wait for the answer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say, Lord, 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 get me together. Tell me what you need me to know. Tell me what your plan is. Because my plans, you laughing. You laughing real hard right now at my plans. So I need you to help me figure out what I'm supposed to be doing. Where am I supposed to be going? How do you want me to get there?
Yeah.
What path should I take? What move should I make? What person should I be? What character should I be representing in the earth? Because you said I'm supposed to live like you. So hey, this character ain't it. This flesh, this ain't it. So show me where I'm supposed to go to find out what your character was. Because I'm supposed to reverence you. I'm supposed to represent you.
Mm-hmm.
That is the light of the world. We are the
Yeah.
light of the world now. So if I am supposed to be light, but my sub is darkness, just like we was talking about the other day, if there's any darkness, it cancels out the light.
Yeah.
Because if you dark, you dark. Light can't live in darkness. So we can go on about that other day. I can't believe we've been talking for an hour already. So I wanted to highlight a comment that Brian left. It says the worst pair, and he's talking about like people joined together
Mm-hmm.
in a relationship of any kind, not just romantic relationships, but at least that's my thought. The worst pair is a user and a giver, because a user doesn't know when to stop using, and a giver doesn't know when to stop giving.
Yeah, and if you're not careful with that, you'll end up enabling if you're doing.
Exactly. You'll become an enabler. And then you now we're talking about idolatry, because
Yep.
you become someone's God.
Yeah,
And
their
that's
savior,
absolute darkness.
their savior. You put them on the pedestal.
Mm-hmm.
You've
For
idolized them.
yourself. Yes. Or they're idolizing you and putting you on the pedestal,
Hmm.
and you're their savior.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is just going to have to come with discernment and prayer, like of knowing when to stop giving,
Mm-hmm.
know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run.
Yes. Know when to be the light,
There you go.
and know when to set a boundary.
Boundaries are important, so important in every relationship. I don't care, even if it's work. Boundaries are important.
What's his name? Pastor YK, YPJ, something like that.
God knows about.
Someone sent me a clip of him talking about that, and he said sometimes when you build boundaries, isolation comes. So
Hmm.
sometimes the isolation ain't subconscious. The isolation ain't because you don't put yourself in the cave. It's because you gonna have to be in the cave, because them demons is mad that you got boundaries in place now.
Yeah.
And that is a real life situation. Okay. Take it from somebody who is still coming out of that space of isolation. It ain't for the weak. It
No,
is
ma'am.
for the weak,
No, ma'am.
because when people force you into isolation,
That's different.
that's very different from what we're talking about here. And when you start setting boundaries because you've been used, that's kind of what happens next. Because people, I will never forget, my best friend said to me one day, he said, uh, setting boundaries that you've never set is like taking candy from a baby. You've been giving this baby candy all this time, and then you just take it. They're going to be devastated.
They're gonna
You
go
have to
off.
they're gonna go off. You have to wean the candy off of them slowly but surely. You can't just snatch it from them. But but sometimes snatching is necessary.
Hmm.
And when you snatch, that baby gonna go off. I'm thinking about like when a baby's in the kitchen. You ain't got time to be weaning the baby off the heat if they by the stove. You gotta be like, no, you can't touch this stove.
Right.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So, but boundaries. Yeah, sometimes you gotta go cold turkeys. He said
Look,
you gotta go to cold
cold
turkey.
turkey.
Sometimes you
That's
gotta
it.
go cold turkey and cut people off, or set boundaries in place, and not really care about how they're going to respond. And it's not that you don't care, it's that you care more for yourself and the boundary you're putting in place than to please the other person who has already offended you.
And that's a even bigger opportunity when you struggle with people pleasing. You don't want to set the boundary because you're afraid of, hey, losing people,
Mm-hmm.
now having newfound rejection,
Mm-hmm.
being isolated, not having anybody anymore. Who am I going to be
Mm-hmm.
with? Who am I going to talk to if I put
Yes.
these boundaries? And we mitigate like our own self uh mental health, and
Mm-hmm.
then even our spiritual health, like all kinds of health, then goes on the line because you don't want to tell people no.
That
Or
part.
you so worried about, well, what they going to think if I set this boundary. It don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be surprised. Some people really like, you'll get an invitation to something and you be, oh my God, I don't know if I can go. I don't know if I can do, and they won't even be upset if you say no.
That part.
It's okay. Sometimes you don't need to be in the room.
Sometimes you don't need to be in the room. Sometimes you don't need to be present.
I've learned that.
You can be
Sometimes
in
you
the room
don't.
and just not be present. Just be quiet. Mind your business. It's all right. The word says to mind your business. It really does multiple times.
Multiple. Get what was the last little trend? Get you some business.
Get you some business so you can mind it.
Yeah,
I
literally.
don't know if that's what it is, but that's what I'm saying.
Get you some business. It's okay. So you ain't got mind your
Mind your business. That's all. Just mind your
just
business.
mind your business. Thanks, Boo. Thank you, Boo. Like just mind your business. Mind the minds. Mind your
Listen.
that
I
part.
think that this has been such a great topic, so much so we had to have three. Um,
Really?
Conscious trauma runs deep,
Yeah.
and but you can be free. You
Yeah.
can be free.
Drink water.
Cece said,
Mind your
"Drink
business.
water and mind your business."
Yeah. I love
That's
it.
the trend, ain't it? Yeah, somebody said that. I don't know who it was, but somebody did say that. Drink
Mind
water,
your
mind your
business.
business. But yeah, you can be free. You can untether from these puppets like trauma that are puppeteering your emotions and puppeteering your mind, and leave other people. Yes, Prophet in that. Leave
Thank
other
you,
people's
Prophet.
business alone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Say it for those in the back.
Say it for those in the back
In the
and
overflow room.
in the
Okay.
overflow room, in the back seat, in the down the street, in the up the street, in the on the hill, under the hill, all the
On the
people
mountaintop.
everywhere, on the mountaintop, on the valley low.
Yeah.
Mind your business and leave other people's business
I
alone.
love
Okay? Because it's real out here. I, I got enough business of my own than to have you in my business. Can you
I,
imagine?
I don't
I
need
got
you.
all this space and all this business I'm trying to worry about, and you keep trying to put your foot in the door. Get out of here. You fly. Don't bother me.
Please be gone.
But yes, you have to untether from the incessant need to be in control, because that's really why people mind other people's businesses. They don't like to be out of control. That's
Control.
a topic for another day.
Control. Ain't that what James said? Control. That's right, see.
Scram. He said scram. But yes, you can be healed. You can be whole. You can untether. You can scram from what does not have anything to do with you.
It's not serve you purpose.
It's not serving you a purpose. It's
Like,
not healing anyone. You're not gifting anything. You're not doing anything. You are just being a bug on a windshield when you
mm,
are minding other people's
flat,
business.
flat,
A bug on a windshield. That's it.
flat.
All you're doing is making people want to wash you off.
Mm,
That's it.
I'm good.
Scram. Yes, Kiki. Scram. Da, 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 da.
Only you would have brought it that far back, man.
Yes, that song does not say scram, by the way.
I
It's
know.
I just have singing Tourette's, so here we
It's
are. But yes, you can untether and don't be run.
go
Keep
ruining nobody else's day. Yes, ma'am.
on. That's what that ain't that what she say?
Yeah. Is
What's her
that
name?
Tabitha?
Tabitha Brown.
Yes,
Yeah,
that is
she said,
Tabitha.
go on about your day. And even if you can't, don't you dare go messing up nobody else's. That's what she say. That's that Tabitha Brown line. Leave people alone. Leave them alone. Oh, I wish we could leave people alone. God knows. We
Like, what if they're not adding, they're subtracting. So therefore, guess what? You do the addition.
come on. You do the addition. If you're not adding or subtracting, what are you doing?
That part.
What are you doing? You're being a bug on a windshield, a bump on a log.
Splat. That's all I keep saying is splat.
Splat, scram. Okay, we just
No,
having fun at this point.
ma'am. Go. It's time to leave.
But
Gotta
I'm
go.
so grateful for y'all. I really want people to understand though that you can't be whole, you can't be healed.
Yes.
The word says in Revelations and in another scripture that I can't think of right now, but it says that the Lord says, "Behold, I'm doing a new thing," and He can do that new thing in you
Yes.
if you let Him. So if you don't know Yeshua, I call him Yeshua. Some people call him Jesus. Most
Jesus.
people call him Jesus. Some people call him Jesus. Some people call him
Abba. You got a few
Yeshua
of them.
HaMashiach.
Literally.
What is the African one? I can't remember right now.
I don't know. When I was
Jesus.
Africa, they was calling
Some
me
people
Jesus.
call him Jesus. Jesus.
Yeah,
That's one of my favorites.
that's what I love him.
But at the end of the day, the Savior, the King, the Messiah, Yeshua HaMashiach, Yahushua HaMashiach, can heal you, honey. So go get you some.
Yes.
Go get you some. Find him in John 3:16, 14 through 16,
That
actually.
part.
And get you some salvation so that you can heal and you can be whole. If you have any questions, we can help you in the comments. We can help you. Well, you can't DM on YouTube, but follow us on Instagram. I'm Angela Nicole MV on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. And Shara, let me pull this down so y'all can see where she is.
We
She
on the
go
go.
in the city. I'm gonna put up the big one that I did so y'all can see it on
Oh,
on the big side.
uh,
Yeah.
like, huh?
Follow her. If you have any questions, you can inbox her. We are here to help. We are here to heal. We can't help everybody, but Jesus can.
That part.
Yeshua
We can point you to the
HaMashiach,
right one.
we can point you to the way, the truth, and the life. Okay,
That
and
part.
get us together because we are going to untether together. So thank y'all for watching. I'm so grateful to have y'all. Thank y'all to my in all and be alls, the Willises for joining
Woo,
us
woo.
today. Thank you, B, our possible our quarter deuce and a quarter.
That one.
What is it?
I was gonna say
Our
ace.
one in a possible. Our ace boo cool.
There you go. I take that B.
But we hope he joins us again. We're looking forward to him. We're gonna have Kiki back as well. So
Yes.
y'all be safe. Y'all heal. Y'all untether. And any and every chance you get, let's untether together.
Okay.
I see y'all next time. We will be back the
Yeah.
last Tuesday of the month. Right?
27.
We'll be back on the 27th. Hope to see y'all there. Spread the word that we are live on YouTube. No
Yes.
more Facebook. We're live on YouTube. I'm gonna
Busy.
try to edit it out that little moment we had earlier so I don't have to delete this. Hallelujah. Thank
In
you.
glory.
Yes. Hopefully I can edit it out. If not, this might be deleted. I ain't even gonna lie. Because
Oh,
I'm about to have my stuff on the internet. No
man.
ma'am, no ham, no turkey.
No turkey? Turkey?
No, I was about to say Sam. I'm about to say your version,
Not alert version yet.
and I can't say your version.
Yo, yo, yo. That's right. You know what that sounded like, right?
Yes, I do very much. He just texted me that yesterday.
Okay, we been goofy. Let's get off this day.
Yes, I like it though. I love it. We are
Love it.
ourselves. Period. As
Her. No,
I love
that's what
y'all.
my coworkers told me.
Oh, purr.
Her. Her.
Her.
Her.
Yes, you told me that last
Her.
week. Her.
Her.
I don't like that because it makes me make a weird face. Her.
As long as you ain't doing Earth the Kid version, we
Right.
good.
Well, we love y'all. Thank you, Keith, for staying on through our goofiness. We will see y'all next time.
Bye,
Have a
everybody.
great evening.
Take care.